you, Mom. Today we're going to be doing our peach swag that was a kit. So we have our swag. We have 2 ficus sleeves. Y'all, I love these things. These are like my favorite. Then we have our sign with our 3 ribbons. And our full roll is that gorgeous peach. Okay, we also have mesh and a couple of peaches. So I cut all of the mesh at 20 inches, and we're gonna put our mesh in first, then we're gonna make a bow, then we'll put our ficus and our peaches in, and we'll add some more ribbon. But we're gonna get started by pulling the swag out. So your swag's gonna come bent like this. All you have to do, I just push it against my body and pull it out. It should be pretty easy to go ahead and straighten it out. And then the next thing, let me zoom in here. The next thing I'm going to do is I am going to kind of pull it apart and almost make like a channel. So that's kind of the first step of fluffing these out. Okay, here we go. Alright, so we make our little channel, just like this. There we go. Alright, and now we're just going to kind of pull them up a little bit. We don't want it to be all flat. Okay. So we're going to use these to tie our mesh in. So it makes it a little bit easier if you have them pulled up so you can find a good piece to tie onto. Okay. The mesh is going to help us add color in, dimension, a whole nother texture. It's just fun. You don't always have to put mesh in your swags, but it is fun to do it. We will be doing a sunflower one soon that's not going to have any mesh at all. But it's going to have some fun sunflowers in it. Okay. So we have it fluffed out. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our mesh and we're going to do a messy ruffle. We're going to do a messy ruffle with a roll. So kind of roll it and then pull it together. So this is kind of like the woodland ruffle. Okay, and you want to put it where the ruffle is showing up. Okay, so all you're going to do is go to the end and wrap it with your greenery piece. And what I like to do to make sure that I'm going to stay even is I will go back and forth. So you want one good roll like that, and then you pull it together. Pull your tie out and just get a good tight tie around it like that, just like that. Okay, so we'll go back to the other side. So one good roll and then pull it up. And then we'll go right next to it. Tie that one. Okay. Back to the other side. You can also do this on the table. So one full roll and then just pull it up together. Whatever's easier. You want to get a full twist with that tie just to make sure it's going to stay in. That. We're just going to keep going back and forth. Until we get down to the bottom. Just like that. That's weird. I am putting them pretty close together because I do want them to kind of raise each other up. Okay. As you get down further, you may have to get closer into the base. Okay. Ready? Okay, so I've gotten almost all of them in. I want to leave a few. So I would make a bow for the top and then we'll start working on the rest. Okay, so we are going to start with this gorgeous peach. Love this so much. So what we're going to do is we are actually going to do a 1.5 yard tail. Okay, so about that long. We're only going to do it with this one. Okay. Hey, Pa. You leaving me?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna walk home.
Okay.
What you doing?
Making a video, and then I gotta wait for that guy to deliver the package, and then I've got
Oh, you
a
want me
lot
to
to
wait?
do. No, he's not gonna be here for another hour.
I don't need to be here.
I'll see you
You
home.
be careful.
I will.
Where's Bella?
Right there.
Okay, you keep her.
I will. Okay, so we're gonna do 6 7-inch loop. So we'll start with a 7-inch loop. Okay. All right, so 7 inches, and we're gonna do 3 of that. So your bow is going to be a huge focal point for this. Okay. All right. So once we have the 3 out, I'm just going to pull out the same amount of tail, cut it off. I want to dovetail it just to give it that nice finished edge. So I just fold it over, cut towards the wired edge. There we go. And I do use only wired ribbon. Okay, so now we're gonna do 2 loops with this light peach. So we're only gonna do about 16-inch tail. 16-inch tail with the light peach. Just like that. You can take this and drop it in the floor. It makes it a little bit easier to work with. Okay. All right, then we'll do the same 7-inch. We're going to do 2 of this one. So we're going to have 1 loop to go in between. So we're going to have 2 loops to go in between our 3. So this bow is a 3-2-1, which means 3 loops, 2 loops, 1 loop. Okay. There we go. So you can see how they kind of go in between each other. And then we'll pull it off, trim it off, and dovetail this as well. All right. We still have some more that we'll use in the wreath itself, in the swag. Okay, then we're going to go to the black. All right. So we're going to do this one about 16 inches as well. Okay. We're going to do 1 loop with this. Okay. That. Pull it out. Trim it off. No dovetail on this. And then I'm going to do 1 loop of this. But we're going to go to 6 inches. So on this bow maker that I'm using, there are marks on the side, which makes it much easier for me to see where my 6-inch mark is. We do carry these in our shop. And what I'll do is take my finger and I'll hover it over so I can see where that mark is. Makes it much faster. Then I will get 2 zip ties out. One zip tie is going to be to tighten the bow, so I slide the zip tie under one whole side, and I'll just get it started so that my loops won't come apart as I'm pulling it out of the bow maker. And this is a Deluxe Easy Bow Maker. So we can see where the indention is, and what we're going to do is gently hold one side and slide that zip tie into that crease and in the back. Okay? Alrighty. And I'll just kind of generally check my loops, make sure they still look good, they look even. And I'll do this before I completely tighten it. This one, this loop looked a little big, so I was just kind of checking that. Okay. I want to make sure all of my tails are in the front. Okay, everything looks pretty good. Okay. I'm going to put a green zip tie in the back with the flat part going up. I like to use a zip tie when I'm doing swags, but you can still use a pipe cleaner or wire for any of these steps. Then I just hold them together while I fluff out the bow. So what I do is I pull and twist just to get a nice big fluff and to get that ribbon in the placement I want it. Okay. So we don't want them all stuck in the middle. We want them to spread out. Okay, and then I'm going to run my hands under these short ones. Okay, and then we're going to put it on our swag and we'll get started on the rest. Okay, we're going to pull the swag back over, and we're going to put this at the top. So where I want to put it, if you put your swag in the back, this is the tie that they provide for things to hang on the swag. I want to put my bow about an inch below that. So we're talking about 3 inches from the top. So I'll just put my zip tie on either side. So just run it right through those evergreen pieces. All right, and I'll start to pull it around the side so I can make sure it won't scratch a door. Now you can determine how tight you want it by the way your bow looks. So when you put your bow in, if you want it to be loose and more spread out, then you're not going to want to tighten it a lot. If you want it to really be in together, then you're going to want to tighten it. There's no right or wrong way. You just want to do it the way that you like it. So if you really want all your loops to spread out, you don't want to do it really tight. If you want them to be really tight, then you keep, so you can see as you tighten it, it brings these loops in closer together. Just remember there's no right or wrong way. It can look any way you want it. And I'm going to spread these loops out to make sure I can get nice coverage with my bow. Okay. I also like to take these 2 large pieces and twist them together against each other to make a nice tie. That little tie is okay, but it's not grand. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take these and we're going to curl them up. So just use your thumbs to curl and then gently pull out. Okay. Okay, gently pull out. I'm going to let this one just kind of drape over. Okay. So pull it up. Just gently twist it around your thumbs very loosely and then gently pull it out. Okay. I'm going to pull these over because we're going to do something with those. Okay. Whoop, I have to redo that. There we go. Okay. And there we go. All right, so what we're going to do with this side piece is we're going to make sure they're on each side. I just kind of sneak it under the bow, and we're going to kind of drape it down like this. So you're going to pinch, you're going to go about your arm length. So from here to here down, which is about 12 inches or so, kind of out to the side, and then you're going to find an evergreen tie and just tie it around that little evergreen piece, just like that. There we go. Okay, let's do the other side. So they don't have to be exactly the same, but about very similar. So see, I just take this green and I just tie it around. So that's the great thing about evergreen, is that it can become your tie. So there's not a whole lot extra you have to do. Okay. Then I'm going to come out a little bit to the side, pinch again, come down, I'm going to tie it towards the bottom. Okay. You want there to be, you don't want it to be real tight, so if it feels like it's real tight, redo it, because you want to have a little bit of play in there. Okay, like that. There we go. All right, let's do this side. Whoop. Looks like I dropped my ribbon over. All right, so like this. pinch here and tie it right around right there. Make sure it's loose. Oh, that's not quite as loose as I want. Let's give a little bit more. There we go. So you want to be able to easily pull that kind of out. Okay. Now, where this juncture is where we're going to put our sign. So let's put our sign next. Okay. So we're actually going to be putting it right in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put a tie at the top and a tie at the bottom. So I'm just punching a hole with my metal hole punch, and then I'm going to use some of this 26 gauge wire. I'm going to pull a pretty good amount out, maybe about 26 inches. Okay. I want to make sure I have enough to tie it where I want to tie it. It also doesn't have to be exactly in the middle because we're really not going to see this. So that's the advantage of using this thinner wire. So I get it to where I have two. Kind of double it up. So I pull it through, meet the ends together, and then just kind of twist it around where it meets the sign. Okay, now, so the reason I want to put it at that juncture is because I don't want to interfere with my bow up here, and this is kind of a great point to just put something in. So remember, this is about somewhere around 12 inches down from the top. So what I do is I take and I put my wire, I'm going to go all the way around the back, I'm going to come back up, okay, I'm going to twist it around twice, 3 times if I can, and then underneath the sign I'm going to twist it around an evergreen piece and tuck that in. That's just going to make sure that it is not going to come out later. Okay. I can adjust these tails if I need to make sure it's not going to interfere with my sign. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing at the bottom. Okay. So I just twist it around and around the swag several times just to make sure I have it secured. And then I just secure it to an evergreen piece and tuck it under. Okay, there we go. All right, there we go. And I want my ribbons to kind of frame it. Okay. Just like that. So that's what we have so far. Just kind of show you. Oh, that's so cute. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add in our 2 peaches. And we're going to add in our ficus. And then we're going to add in some ribbon. All right. So these here are plastic. So what I generally do is I will take an ice pick or an awl, something that's sharp, and poke a little hole in it. So there is foam inside there. And I will take a wooden dowel or a stick, get a little glue on it, place it right in there. You want to get it in there pretty well. Don't come out the other side. And then I'll just trim this off. Okay. So I don't need this other piece. And what you can actually do is you can actually use this to glue to the evergreen piece. So I just get some glue on it, and I'm going to place it right down here where the evergreen is. I'm just going to make sure it holds onto that evergreen because it will glue it. It'll glue right to it. Let's see. I think we're going to put another one down here, maybe towards the bottom. We're going to hold on to it for right now because I'm not exactly sure where I want to put it. Alright, so we're going to add in some of this. We'll put some in the bow. We're going to put some around as well. So I like to cut it where there are natural breaks. So right where it's starting to meet a new point, such as right here, right here, right here. So you can get quite a few pieces out of these. You may have way more than you need, and that's okay. You don't have to use it all, or you can use it all. Okay? I'll start off by adding some into my bow. So I'm just going to pull my loops apart, put it right there in between my loops, and then put my loops back. Okay? Alrighty. I want to put some bigger ones in the back. Kind of frame out my bow a little. So I'm just kind of putting them down. I have to make sure that I'm putting it in contact with the evergreen or it's not going to stick. So it's very important that when you're placing them in there, that you are making sure you are hitting on these evergreen pieces, because that is what's going to hold it. To the wreath. Okay. Put a little bit more in the bow. I love to decorate bows. It's one of my favorite things. It helps to bring it into the whole project. So then the whole project becomes one piece. Okay. I don't want to neglect the bottom, so I will put a little bit in at the bottom. And it's totally fine if it is standing up off of the swag. That actually is what you want. You don't want everything to be kind of squashed down in the center. Okay, so you can see how we decorated the bow. All right, let's put some. So we have a couple more, but we're going to use the rest on the swag itself. Okay. All right, so you can see I'm cutting where there's a natural place to cut. So you can see like right here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take it and we're going to glue it to the evergreen along the sides. Okay, so let's do some over here. So see, you're taking it and you're putting it right in where that evergreen is. Make sure that it is grabbing on to that evergreen. Okay. You want to make sure that you are keeping your line. So don't go out too far beyond where your mesh is starting your line. So that's about where you want to stay with. So kind of try to stay around the same width as your mesh. So that's where you established your line. Okay. So just kind of go along both sides. Make sure that you are staying within that boundary. Okay. Now at the bottom, you have a couple of choices. You can put your other peach down here, which I think we will do, but you can also put a bow. So it looks really cute if you put a bow at the bottom. It is not required. You could also just have your ends meet here and put your peach here. You do not have to put a bow. You can put a small bow or a large bow. It really is up to you. You don't have to use all the same ribbons. You can use some or all. And one thing I like to do is get about some 13-inch pieces, especially of the peach. Okay. And you're going to have a lot of ribbon left. And you're going to have some mesh left, and that's okay. Stop. Down. Okay. Alright, and you can either cut it at an angle or you can do your dovetails. And then what I do is I pinch it and I pull it up and get a nice little curl, and I'm going to place it. So there's a couple ways you can do this. You can take a little piece of a pipe cleaner, like this. And you can get a little glue on it, and you can glue it right in, like this. Let's kind of pull that out this way. Oh, let's pull it out this way. Here we go. Okay. You can also take it and find a greenery piece and tie it onto a greenery piece. Like that. Okay. You can put it anywhere you think it needs just a little bit more color. Right in here. You can also use these to tie on to a piece of greenery. So if you have trouble getting to one, you can use it to tie on to one. All right. And then just have a little coming out. Okay. Let me do that. You can put as many of these on or as little of these on as you want. Just like that. Let's put maybe a little bow to hold these together down here. Let's make a simple bow, just a small bow, so like 8-inch tail. Then we'll do like 5-inch loop, so that's 10 inches. And just pinch it in your hand. Go 10-inch again. Pull this one underneath and pinch it. Push this in the front. Okay. So you can see what we did is we crisscrossed it, just like that. Okay, we can trim those off. Alright, and then we'll grab another pipe cleaner. So this is just a 1-loop, very simple bow. Let's make sure these match. They do. Okay. So when I am tightening a bow, I hold my tie and I twist my bow like that. That just helps get it a little tighter. There we go. So just tie this right on here. So this is just going to cover some of our mechanics. Give us a nice little bit more color down here at the bottom. Just like that. Okay. Then we've got some cute little tails. I think we will cut these at an angle. There we go. So I saved a few ficus pieces, so we're going to put some around here. Put one kind of underneath it, like this. Oops. We'll do one kind of underneath it like that. Putting it there. Okay. Here. Make sure I can get it into the evergreen. There we go. All right. Okay, and I want to put the peach right here in this little hole. Okay. So these are just florist greenery picks. Okay. So I just punch a hole in the middle. You can also use the skewers. You can get the skewers from the grocery store. Those work great. They're also wood. Okay. So I got some glue on it. I'm just gonna plop it right inside there. There we go. Awesome. All right, so now what you can do is just look to see if there's any areas that you have a hole that you need to add something else to. So you have plenty of ribbon that you can use to add. You can add mini bows. You can just add as much as you want. Remember, you have tons of ribbon, so use as much or as little as you want. I hope you like this. I love making swags. And see, you can't tell a whole lot of the mesh, but it gives us that great, just that really great shape that we're looking for. So I really hope you enjoyed this. And make sure to come back for other videos. Thanks, y'all. Bye-bye.